Jim says he likes the Pink Floyd song.
Okay.
We're ready to.
Great. Oh, great. 7:08.
It's 5:08.
Okay. All right, it is 5:08 on July 16, 2025. Call to order the Board of Directors meeting of the Sandy Fire District. Start with the flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any changes to the agenda, Chief?
There are no changes to the agenda, but we do have a change to the packet that you have, and I'll turn it some time over to Shelby if you're okay with that to start.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You have the updated attachment, there with you, it would be the facing page 8 of the packet, and it is the sanity transition measures document. You can slip that one right in there. And it's now in place, there was just a little bit of language change.
Okay. So I'll use that instead of the old one that I had printed off earlier.
And I can address those changes through the staff.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Okay, the approval of the minutes of the June 25th meeting. Motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you. The second,
I'll say.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's approved. And you said we do not have any public, is that correct, Shelby? Hmm?
We have one member, but there's no.
No,
All right, perfect. We do. All right, well, I guess if Ryan is one of the people to be sworn in, so should we wait on that?
Well, let's-
Shows that,
yeah,
you wanna
you know,
go ahead and do,
we could swear in Mark and then get Ryan next meeting, or we can defer to next meeting. What would,
Anything works. That's perfect.
why don't we just go on ahead and just swear you in
Okay,
right now, does that work?
perfect.
And then that way, just in case something happens next month, then.
Just gonna cast a vote.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly it. You're gonna be casting a vote, we need you to be sworn in.
oh, good idea.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
thank you for
Cool.
bringing that up.
Awesome. All right. So we're swearing in Director Monder for his next term. So Director Monder, if you'd please stand and raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Mark Monder,
I, Mark Monder,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and the laws enacted thereunder,
the laws enacted thereunder.
and I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of Director
duties of director,
commencing on the 16th day
commencing on the 16th day
of July 2025
of July 2025.
of the Sandy Fire District number 72.
Sandy Fire District number 72,
Sandy, Oregon,
where to
to the best of my ability.
the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, Director Marner. Appreciate you. Congratulations.
Glad that you have to still for a little while longer.
Shelby afterwards, that'd be great. But does he need to print it back to you, or do we, yeah, and then we'll give him a copy? Okay, perfect. Thank you, so we'll get Director Fox next meeting.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll get him unless he should show up and we can.
And then we'll get it, yeah, that works.
All right, I guess we are down to our main business for tonight, the question, the board approval for the Sandy Fire ballot title, question summary and explanatory statement. Go for it, Rick.
The only question I have is,
Hold on one second.
we have, we're already coming with the budget oversight. Chris is doing all of it, but most of the things we went over. To me, it just makes it a little more sensitive with, I didn't review the agenda in detail to talk about that. About the changes that we made before you go into them, but
Well, that's, so are you,
The formal action.
well, I'm looking down here, number 7 is other businesses, the oversight committee.
oh, yeah, I'm tracking that. I think,
You see what I'm saying?
yeah, so he's,
You wanna have that
because
first?
his, why don't we do that?
I think that's.
Because then we can, does that work?
That makes sense.
Okay, why don't we?
Now I'll feed into what.
Yep, so sorry, I guess we do have some agenda changes that
That's
make
okay.
perfect sense, so we'll just we'll move OB one up, if that's okay with
Okay,
you.
that works.
I think that's a great suggestion, Ron.
So,
Thank you. All right. So do we have a report from the Joint Oversight Committee?
yes,
Thank you.
we met yesterday here. And, board member, Fox was here, representatives as well. And Chief, Brown, Edith, and Chris Haas, Jim Searing, were intense as well as Chris. I'm getting, wish I was better on last names, but I did.
Edmonds.
Edmonds, excuse me.
You got
And we reviewed the, what we're gonna review here, what Chris is gonna go over with us. And it was more technicalities going through. I think one of the big one was trying to move up on the actual levy and putting in the dollar amount, the millage rate that would be on that. So that it was in the body of the ballot measure, right?
Yep.
That was there was a few typos, there was a year that was off, and then Jim Searing had pointed out some other things about with his history.
Yep.
That historians that need to be clarified. And then we had, I thought it was a really good discussion revolving around, and it's really outside of this, but it's how we're going to go, how Chief Brown and his crew are going to look at things if Sandy were to be annexed in, and the deployment of staff. Correct?
Yep.
And again, everything could change in a heartbeat. Maybe not that fast, but things can come up and change. And we're telling the chief, we're not looking to hold his feet to the fire. But one of the ones that came up was, we talked about if this came through of staffing this 24/7 for the EMS rig, correct?
Mhm.
And then we kind of came back and said, hey, the analytics, just me being the little simple Pollock boy that I am, is like, it doesn't really make sense just for that
Yep.
to do it. But then you're looking at a much bigger picture than I was, and maybe having a truck out here at some time and some other things. It's just gonna allow you a lot more flexibility to better coverage the whole area.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And having that 24/7 two-person crew here gives you the ability to make things better for everybody in the current fire district as well as the surrounding areas. That's what I kind of walked away from.
Articulated perfectly.
So I thought it was a great discussion. And then we talked a little bit, with Chairman Haas about how the money from our general fund would be used going forward if we were to come in. I think that was kind of the essence of the pieces that but it was a very good, interchange of ideas, information. And then, board member Fox was asking about the, what was the word I'm looking for?
Task forces, like
Task
if there's a commercial fire or a residential
Yeah.
fire, what the resources were that come. And would that change? What's the water tender response? Things of that nature, just because he was getting a lot of questions regarding that.
And he walked away, I talked to him, he felt really, he wasn't feeling bad before, but he was, wow, feel really good about the coverage and what is going on and what will be going on.
Yep.
And we talked a little bit about the volunteer organization, and again, the intent is to use the Dover, fits in with your plans currently. And so that's just the added benefit to the community.
Yep.
But again, we talked a little bit about apparatus operators.
Yep.
You can't guarantee that there's gonna be one up there,
Yep.
right? It's just kind of luck of the draw a little bit.
Would you like Dieters to kind of reiterate?
Yeah.
Chief Dieters, as far as the conversation of how we used to have Station 12 and Station 13. And so you were really looking at the 3 stations for volunteer staffing and now the future.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
On
No, yeah,
because of that.
Yeah, so previously we staffed 12 and 13, and then obviously in the levy success, part of that was to staff those 2 stations. So We really haven't grown the number of volunteers that we've had, although we consistently have academies and grow them. And they were spread between the two fire stations, and in the beginning of this contract, we started staffing Dover as best we could. But as those became staffed, they're literally, all of Clackamas fire stations are staffed now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with the exception of Station 21, which is our volunteer rehab group. So Dover is our only place for the volunteer program for suppression volunteer firefighters to go. The program has been a tradition, the volunteer program has been a tradition in every annexation that we've ever done, or any kind of relationship. Every department has come with some sort of a volunteer, so, and I was pointing out that, you know, it really is, lack of a better word, it's a good farm team for us it's a working interview the whole time they're here, and the volunteers for us get 10 preference points when they go to test, as long as they're in good standings and they've met all the qualifications. So we try to reward in that way, but having Dover, we've been able to focus. That's why you're saying 27, 28 nights a month out there with coverage. And then now with our relationship with ODF being there 7 days a week, we share the station with them now. So in exchange, they do yard work and clean up and take care of the station. But that having that station has been very critical to the success of keeping our program, because honestly, without it, we just don't have anywhere to house suppression volunteers. So our intent is fully to keep that program running and going, and as we have in the years past. So that's one of the benefits of this relationship, is having that.
Yeah, and probably go back, just to wrap it up here, the biggest one that we had on the annexation measure again was that 52 cents, and just having that out there. And I think, because I asked everybody, do you think that by putting that in there, that is going to detract, really swing it? And I think the consensus was no.
Yeah.
And Chairman Haas actually brought up the point that you was what is Damascus, you learned better, it's best just to lay it out there, right? Yeah, and we've always have said that as a board, of letting people know that that's coming up, so we have, I think we strengthened that.
Great.
Ron, you mentioned you guys had a conversation about like our general fund and everything, but can you touch on what that conversation was about, or?
Actually, I would probably defer to Chris or Chairman Haas.
Run that by me again, sorry. It's talking about what happens with their beginning fund, ending fund balance, and where that would go, with Clackamas Fire, and the annexation, what it would be utilized for.
Yeah, well, you guys can do it more technical than I know. I just know that it's like with you guys, it's left over, it becomes your ending fund balance for the next year, for them to start up the next year. And basically, what used to be kind of two piles becomes one because you guys join us. So it'll go into the general fund to kind of serve the same purpose.
But I would take it that the money that we have earmarked in there for apparatus and facilities would also go into a similar type fund, or not?
If you're okay
The general
deferring that to Whitaker, you'd be glad to answer that question.
Yes.
fund.
Yeah, it would likely go into, we similarly have a capital replacement fund, and those same dollars would translate into that. So. But ultimately, budget decisions will, under the new arrangement, will be made by the Clackamas Fire Board of Directors.
Yeah, I'm glad that answered your question.
Yeah, you mentioned it, I didn't hear any other explanations of that conversation was dealing.
Yeah, if the annexation's successful, hopefully there'll be maybe a little, more of a deep dive into staffing and what's appropriate, and make sure we're spending taxpayer dollars appropriately for the coverage we need in a lot of areas.
Yep.
So it gives us that opportunity once we get to that point.
Yep.
I've been pretty vocal to say that I'm not sure, and again, not that I don't support the increased staffing, it just has to make sense, and
Yep.
we have a different kind of community at times, different stations have different areas that they serve, and it changes quite a bit in this area here. Again, it's not a real busy area for evening type response, so it's not Anyway, I just wanna make sure that taxpayers are looked out for and we're doing the right thing, and, but it gives us an opportunity to take a big, deep dive into that, and see what's appropriate for
Yeah.
for that service area, not just Sandy Fire.
And maybe what we do, if after today it's referred and we have a successful measure, that we bring in, operations team at, that next board meeting. And bring in some dark horse analytics to really show, what's guiding their decisions. I think that would be beneficial to answer that piece.
And if it's approved, right, would it go into effect immediately, or is that July or one?
July 26th. Yep, and then the first step would be the Clackamas board would have to agree as well. So if you vote to refer, it goes to Clackamas.
I'm just saying, like, once
Yeah.
if it's all. And the voters give you the.
July 26th.
Or any other things you wanted to address before we let
No, I
Chris do his thing?
No, I think that was it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Touch up or anything.
I apologize for not
No.
reading the order.
No, it's okay.
No, I actually appreciate Director Lazowski teeing this up for me, so thank you. I think you smoothed out the water, so I will I'll try to bring some pageantry to this. If you'll bear with me, I'm gonna kind of walk you through the decision that's in front of you, as well as the materials that you have, and I will get to addressing the small things that we made. But bear with me here, and then there will be some time for questions. I want to say how excited I am to be sitting here as you are on the verge of considering a pretty momentous decision, not just for this community, but also for Clackamas Fire District as a whole. As part of getting ready for this, I've gone back and trying to dive into the history of our district and looking at each one of those annexations, right, that came in, whether it was Brain or Eagle Creek or Happy Valley, Damascus, Oregon City. Not only were those communities strengthened in terms of their fire and emergency medical protection through that, but our entire district got stronger, each one. So we've just steadily evolved. And so I don't want this to be a one-way relationship at all. I think Clackamas Fire District is going to benefit as much from having Sandy Fire District in our family as Sandy Fire District will benefit from us providing services. So there's a number of things in front of you. The decision point that's going to be in front of you tonight is to formally approve a ballot title, question, summary, and explanatory statements in your packet for referral to the November ballot, as well as passage of resolution 25-02, which would resolve to annex the district in. We'd actually ask that you take 25-02 first, and then move to approve the ballot materials. I want to talk just a second about trust and accountability, which is a big piece of this. Anybody who's made a momentous decision, whether you're marrying a house or marrying another person or welcoming another person into the world who is going to be dependent on you for their whole life, knows that that's a momentous decision. This is like a can't look back kind of decision. So there's a huge amount of trust that's involved in this. And I applaud this board of directors for being so thorough, asking a lot of tough questions, sometimes even asking the tough questions 3 times just to make sure that the answer is consistent and that we've turned over all the rocks. I really appreciate that. But there is a wide measure of trust that this community would be putting into Clackamas Fire, by seeding Sandy Fire District and annexing it. I would tell my children, you want to maybe trust but verify with most government entities, and certainly with politicians, you might not even start with trust. But when I look at Clackamas Fire, we feel very strongly that our reputation and the trust that our people put into us, whether they're our workforce or the communities that we serve, that's well-earned trust, right? It's come after every single one of those annexations where a community put their trust into us and they saw their service levels improve. They saw our crews continuing to show up or doubling down on those community events and supporting the nonprofits and all that. So we're grateful that you can trust us. And here's what we commit to. We commit to getting better every single day in the same way that we always do, not changing, being Clackamas Fire, living out our core values that you've come to expect from us, but also being efficient with our tax dollar. When I look at this agency, our years of experience in government agencies of all stripes, right, across this country, Clackamas Fire is special, right? And it comes down to the choices we make about what furniture to buy, how to make decisions around staffing, what we prioritize, what we don't. We always put our communities that we serve, our people first, and we will not at any point in this process deviate from that. And so that gets to what we looked at. If you remember the first meeting I had with you, I put a presentation up and I said, there are 5 rules to passing measures that have a revenue impact to them. And I'm gonna paraphrase my own rules here. But the first one is that does the referring jurisdiction, and in this case, I think Clackamas Fire sort of viewed as that larger referring jurisdiction, even though you are the referring jurisdiction. Do they have a record of strong fiscal management and performance? And I can say without a doubt that Clackamas Fire does. And that was reflected in a community survey that we put out to your voters, where, we had a 92% approval rating for the services that are being provided here. Question number 2 is, has it involved community leaders in every step of the process? And I think to the best of our ability, we brought the community along with us through this. I have a few examples of bringing the community along. Include the fact that we held 2 open houses at each of our stations. We had a webinar. That webinar is available and was available for all community members to participate in. We conducted a quantitative survey to take a measure of this community, but we also put out a qualitative survey to give residents the chance to engage with us. At no step in that process or in our communications with community groups, at no step in that process did we hear any sort of or experience a level of community concern that would give us any second doubts about proceeding with this. So that was really solid. The third question is there something for voters in this? And I think without a doubt, having long-term, stable, effective, professional fire services will be a long-term benefit to this community. Are there any poison pills in the measure? At this point, I think we've worked really hard. Both boards of directors have worked really hard to come up with a proposed financial model that's fair to this community. In not levying our 52 cents per 1,000 levy until this community has an opportunity to vote on it. And so I think that through that process, we successfully removed what could have been the poison pill there and worked to address it. And then the number 5 is it affordable? And while I don't take tax dollars lightly, we want to stretch every penny that we get, and we take what our residents contribute very seriously. I think that it would disparage the residents of this city if we were to say that they couldn't afford $4.68 a month for the median homeowner to have strong long-term fire services. So we do believe that it's affordable. If it's affordable for Eagle Creek, it's affordable for Sadie, as I guess we would say. And so what you have in front of you is a resolution. That resolution will start the formal process of kicking off an annexation. Our board, the Clackamas Fire District Board of Directors, will consider this at its next meeting. Should this board approve that resolution, they'll have their own resolution accepting Sandy Fire District in, and then everything is contingent on voter approval. You also have draft ballot materials in front of you that comply with all of the measure requirements. So you have a question, a title, summary, and explanatory statement. And if I could really quickly, just so that you are very clear, I'd like to note each change that was made in the original packet that you have, and then what is in the packet in front of you. So on the ballot, we made no changes to the ballot title, no changes to the ballot question. In the ballot summary, We replaced Happy Valley because our resident historian, Jim Searing, had identified that Happy Valley was actually annexed more than 20 years ago. And also Eagle Creek is a really good exemplar neighbor in this community. So to keep the language of that paragraph consistent, we replaced Happy Valley with Eagle Creek as an exemplar. And then that was the only change we made to the ballot summary. And then in the explanatory statement, you will see that we changed in the paragraph starting, which is the 5th paragraph. In the paragraph that had started in 2022, we changed that to 2023 with a fact check on when our levy was approved. And we also included language in there after enhanced funding levy that now reads at a rate of 52 cents per thousand. To make it very clear what Clackamas Fire's levy is, so that we can be very transparent and upfront with the community about what would be coming their way if the district were to pursue a renewal of that, which at this point, we don't have a reason not to. We also made a slight formatting change to the word "not" in that paragraph, just to emphasize that they would not pay that rate. And then in paragraph 7, we added a comma after Clackamas Fire District and wrote effective July 1st, 2026. One thing that for folks who weren't at the meeting yesterday that I did want to point out is that we actually, in this explanatory statement, include a URL link to the hour-long webinar, so that anybody who receives their voters pamphlet and asks questions about this can access that webinar and those materials easily. So with that, I would accept any questions that you have, and thank you for letting me be a little long-winded here.
More of a technical one. So the resolution, if we adopt that tonight, that goes to the board. And they would vote obviously on it, their own resolution. Then this verbiage, when do we have to have that in by?
Yeah, it needs to be, my gosh, because we've been accelerating the date, is skipping my head. It is a date in late August.
August 15th.
Yeah, that is, well, there are actually 2 dates.
Okay.
So August 15th is to request a ballot title. All that you would need to comply with August 15th are the top 3 elements, and perhaps even the top 2 elements. I'd have to just double check the ORSs on that. My preference would be that you would just submit them all at the same time.
Okay, I was just wondering because we haven't, as a board, sat before and looked at this as a whole. So if there was any other things that people wanted, that's what I'm saying, that we still have
Yeah.
time for that.
If the board wanted to make changes, you could make changes to this document, to those documents right now, but it would likely require a special board meeting in order to do that, to be able to meet the timeline.
Okay,
So no concerns there, and I'm happy to address questions if folks want to ask why we worded something a certain way, or if anything got left out. There is basically what happens, so when you, on a technical level, when you vote to approve this, then we can, as staff, put that into the correct SEL form and handle delivery of that document to the Clackamas County Clerk's office. So. Any other questions?
No, I'm still a little concerned about the levies part of it. I don't know how to word it any different that would make it any different. I feel like it's kind of buried, and people will read the summary and not really get into the statements. And I just want to make sure that we're really clear to the taxpayers, and I don't know how else to do that, but
I think we can articulate in every part of our messaging, Director Monitor, on the website, the QR code cards that we gave you to hand out to people, to the open houses. I mean, the webinar, we have been crystal clear of hitting that, even to add that language of 52 cents in every portion of it. The placards that we had 52 cents, everything that we were talking about And Ron caught it yesterday that we were missing that in here, and I think even with that adjustment into there, I don't know how else to do exactly what you're saying. Okay,
I don't,
Other than, you know, I mean, almost going to the other direction, right, of amplifying.
well, the problem I'm just seeing is open house and some of the other stuff, they're not well attended.
No,
They're not-
yeah,
they're
no,
not-
for sure.
They're not really touching our voters.
Yep.
So in the end, the voters are gonna look to this board right here and say, what did you do? They're trusting us. What did you do? And I wanna make sure that we don't, there's no way for them to say, you told us this, but it's really this.
Totally,
And that's the biggest concern we have. And I'm not sure how to word that any different. Because they are two totally separate issues. Anyway, I just been scribbling some notes, but I can't make it, I don't know of a way to make it fit any better.
when we talked about the levy in our board, it's a variation of this came up with all 5 of the board members. And I think the best way, and I can't remember if it was Director Hawes or Director Searing in a back and forth dialogue, much like we're having right now. But the reality of this is yes, you are putting a lot of pressure, and yes, you represent the board, the public. And you have taken that responsibility fully, and you've owned it. You've held us accountable. You've done everything within your power. But you are not them. And what you are doing in this situation is you are referring it to them. Right? That's all you're doing. You're not making the decision for them. You are literally just referring this to them. I understand that responsibility, but every single conversation you have with people, you have been above board and been open and honest. We are doing the same thing. It's plastered everywhere that we have for people to look. But I know the pressure and I know the ownership you guys have, but this is for you guys just literally to refer it to the taxpayer and let them decide.
You're right, and again, you know, I can walk away, you know, technically we've done everything right.
Yep.
And I think that over the past few months, talking us a little bit of kind of pushing it down, we're like trying to pull up, and so we've met, you come up more than we've come down. Okay?
Yeah.
On, if I had to do anything, I just put in the summary and say, hey, by the way,
Yeah.
there's a 52-cent levy too, but that could be coming up,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And I don't know exactly how to word it better than that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the thing on it, that's out there. It's in there, you can read through it.
Yep.
But I guess in terms of looking out for the people that we represent is, again, it's unfortunate, but most people that are voting,
Yeah.
thank God for the ones that do vote,
Yes.
is it's gonna be the night before, they're gonna pull the voters pamphlet out and go through. And in most cases, if they read the summary, then they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? The more detail, I don't know what the percentage would be, but it's all there. But I mean, it may be, that's my view of the average voter.
I would have to say that over the last couple of months that I have had, it's not, it sounds like a lot of people ask me about it, and when I try to explain it, they say, if you think it's good, I'm going to trust that you're making the right decision.
That's a lot of weight.
It is.
Yep.
I hope I'm making the right decision for you. That's all I can say.
Yep.
They don't want to give me the details. They want me to tell them it's okay.
Yeah.
And we're all gonna be better for this.
I would love it if in the ballot title or the ballot question, they would give you more words than 20 words, right? Or 10 words. It's the structure of this thing. And so you have to look at what's gonna get the most. How can we maximize those 20 words to be able to capture the voter, right? And so, the best way for us to, I know it appears as if it's embedded in, but that's really where we can speak to it. It's the 500, at the 500.
And my thing to me, I said, what I was putting on was not the 20 words, it's 175.
Yeah,
Okay, and I think the 20 words is great, and I think the 175 is well done. Again, going off of Director Monder, I don't know how to do it any better,
Yeah.
other than just saying, hey, by the way,
we're
it
calling
could
it.
be.
Yeah.
It wouldn't really help because they wouldn't read that.
Directors, I'm on board too with what you're saying, you know, and I think that we wanted to try to make it as clear as we possibly could without getting into high school and above level English, right? And we start like, you know, in the ballot summary where we address costs, we could put a similar statement, right, that says that the district residents would not pay the current levy rate of 52 cents per thousand, but, you know, could vote on it. But as I'm reading that, I've then put 4 or 5 different numbers in one paragraph, and, you know, in front of voters who we know from surveys and experience, most people don't have a solid grasp of how, you know, our property tax system works, right, in the first place, or any of this. I feel like I've just done a great disservice to the community if I put that one sentence in there, because now they understand the issue less than they did before, but
I would just,
it's not a question of trying to hide it, it's more, it's a question of the how complicated, because we're adding more orders of operation to the question.
I just didn't know if somewhere, I'm talking out loud here a little bit, but after we say the permanent tax rate of the $240 per thousand assessed value, and then maybe something in the way, and again, I might be off here, and after that, say, and any future levy approved by the district.
So, you know, so we tried to address it, and I'm sorry, we did make one change that I skipped when I was going through the review, because we added the words to this. And that was Director Lazowski's request, I think, or the suggestion of, after funding, we wrote measures like bonds and levies on it, so it now, so it reads, it gives residents the ability to vote in fire district elections, serve on the district's board of directors, help shape decisions about service levels and funding measures like bonds and levies.
Second paragraph down.
No, and that's good. Yeah, and like I said, I don't know that I've got the answer, I don't know how to fix, but I think in general, the public's going to skim over this and look at the basics. And again, we don't know what the future is gonna hold, we
For
don't
sure.
know what's gonna happen, so it's
Yep.
hard for us to say one or the other.
Yeah.
But it is like I think overall, I don't know what the number is, it's gotta be like a 30% increase to the taxpayers out here. Pretty close, right?
You're at 217 right now.
Yeah, the regular levy would bring it about 10%.
Mm,
Then,
No,
for
with
the
the
rate,
levy.
not the levy,
With the
the
levy.
regular rate brings it up 10%.
But with the
And
lead,
the levy would bring it up another
294.
so it's a 30% increase would be a 30% increase with the levy recall. Fire service.
so that's a significant impact to people, and it's not just when it's impacts there, it's impacts with all the things that are going on, you know.
Yeah.
What the state's trying to do and what the school board's gonna try to do and what the community college did, you know, it's all those things that add up together, so. But again, it's more of I don't think we're hiding it by no means, I just didn't know if there was a way we could get it into something into the summary part, but I don't know that that's where it fits either, so just talking out loud.
Yeah, one thing, just to give you a little bit of confidence in how we plan to approach, you know, this issue with the community. Is that our newly annexed communities, if assuming that Sandy comes on board and Gladstone were to come on board as well this year. Those are communities that didn't get a chance to vote in our last levy, in the original creation of this levy in 2023. And we know that the district without those communities passed that initial levy, which was that same 52-cent increase on themselves. And we're willing to pay that for the fire service. And they did so by more than a 60% margin, which is pretty, you know, tremendous for, like you mentioned, right? It's a pretty big bite for somebody to take on, and we don't take it lightly. But what I can tell you is that our focus immediately will be, you know, on the residents here of Sandy, and on the residents of Gladstone, educating, helping people understand where those investments are going, how it impacts them, you know, and what that is about. So we'll be having this conversation with the community. And it's because there are enough, you know, there's enough voters here in Gladstone, if they were to come in as well, that could really shape the success or failure of any potential renewal of that levy. So if we want to renew the levy, we have to work within these communities. We have to outperform and continue to educate and bring it along. I think that that's the approach that we're gonna take, and so you can, you know, feel heartened in that.
Yeah, I'm good with that, and I appreciate the ability or I don't know, the cooperation, just that we can speak openly about this, right? And try to come up with it, and that we can, again, we're just looking out to make sure that it gets across, and I wish that all the voters that were out there would take heart and listen to all this, but again, like anything else, until it really affects me, I don't care, I know, for the most part,
A lot
right?
of them are gonna get info off Facebook from people who aren't fully educated on anyway, so that's.
But we can say that, but again, we can come back and say, hey, by the way, I just did the numbers, it's gonna be a 10% increase from what you have, okay?
Yeah.
And the other one is, and if the bond comes around again at the same level,
8%,
it's gonna be, it'll raise it a third, I mean, it'll be a total of 30.
It's 25%, I just did the calculation, it'll be a 25% increase if you add it on the levy.
I think it's more.
It's more than that, so you take the
217 divided by 292, it was 25%.
but it's going up by 23 cents, we go to 217 to 240, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's 10.5%.
Yeah,
And then if you do you add the 23 and the 52. So that's 75 divided by 217.
And, you
And
know,
now I'm trying to split hairs, but that comes up to 34.5%.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Director, hearing you and in this full spirit of transparency, I think the other thing that we also have to think about is like the time horizon on this. That there isn't a levy renewal decision for 3 years, right? And then the bond is.
I totally understand that. And I'm not meaning to cut you off, but I did, but it's the thing of just. I guess I'm struggling with, I can't speak for anybody else, is just to make sure that we've done our very best. To make sure that the voter knows this is the implications, okay, on it. So,
And then make sure that they actually look at a property tax statement so they know what part of what they're paying is actually for a fire district and stuff, because some people don't understand that either.
and I failed to also mention that, Chris is, again, I would use your last name here before. And
Yeah. You don't have to look at
I appreciate you and your staff, the work that's done to wordsmith and put this together. As I said the other day, it's easier for me to
I'm seeing what I did.
edit than to author, so a lot has gone into this. You make it look simple, but there's a lot here, and I appreciate that.
I see what I did wrong. I'm so sorry. Hey, I grew up in Los Angeles, all right? Give me a break. It's LA math. It's LA math. I see what I did wrong. I did 217 into 292 versus the raise. Yeah, sorry.
Killing the teacher.
Yeah, I'm sure the teacher was saying, oh my gosh, that guy passed high school.
I appreciate the discussion. I don't think I will do that for myself, but.
Yeah, and I, like I said, I don't need to, I don't know that we need to change anything. I guess I would challenge you guys. That if this goes through and we have a levy coming up in 3 more years, that you look at ways to. Reduce those costs, so maybe that levy is not quite as expensive. I think that's the goal we should all have. We're here to serve the public, not
Yeah.
ourselves.
Correct.
And so our goal should be, how can we reduce that in any way and make it more beneficial to our taxpayers? Cause that's really what's important, and we're, in government, that rarely happens. Yeah, rarely. It's always the other way. Ask for more money, and if you give us more money, we'll spend it. But that doesn't really say we're spending it correctly all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a message that I hope you guys carry forward, because this is our trust in you that
Yep.
we will do that. So that's the key. And like I said, that's rare in government.
Thank you, Director, and we will not only carry it forward, but we will live it out every single day. That is part of the ethos of this organization, and I have worked for and consulted with many other governmental organizations that see it differently. And they start from the question of how much do we think we can get? And then they go from there, right? That is not this agency at all. This district, it takes the tax, we talk ourselves out of things more than other people talk themselves out of them, right? So we absolutely will live that out. And I think that our long-term success, we're pretty well invested in being the most efficient, effective, cost-effective district of our size in the state. And that's where we are right now, and it's where we want to continue to be. And we look at some of our peers and what the costs are providing fire service, and we see what we're able to deliver for a lower rate. We want to stay there. We never want to be your bargain basement fire district,
We're not
right?
asking for that, but
Right.
most people in their personal lives don't pay for premium. I mean,
Exactly.
you could buy a nicer car, have a better insurance, you know, and
Totally.
yep, we want high, good quality
Quality.
for a reasonable price. That's what the
Exactly.
world wants.
Yep.
And, we don't need to be in extremes or pat ourselves on it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes the fire service is building their own, they're kind of building their own castle when
Yep.
not necessarily is that needed. You know,
Totally.
There's a lot of other things we can do, and you guys have taken some steps recently that are in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I applaud you guys for doing that kind of stuff, because otherwise, this thing just keeps growing and keeps growing, somebody's gotta pay for it all the time, and
Yeah.
it gets a little old when you hear that from every single government agency out there. Give me more, you know, you hear, it's just been over the years, it's been everything, you know, first it was if we put the marijuana in, it'll pay for all the schools, well, now all the schools are still broke, and if, you know what I mean, it's just constant. We don't have the money, we'll ask the taxpayers for more, if it's ODOT, if it's whatever, and it's just, at some point, it's like, come on. How are we gonna take care of the people first, and I'll get off my soapbox, but.
No, you're so on point though.
I think it's important for all of us to remember who we work for.
You know, and part of those things, Director Monder, and I know we've talked about it offline, but I mean, it's good to say it in a public meeting like this, like, it even goes down to the decisions that we make, right? Like the NFPA standard, you and I both know what that is to replace type 1 fire engines, right? No, we invest in a fleet maintenance that our Pierce mechanics, and we have a 1998 ladder truck that's still in service. It's a reserve status at this point, but that should have been retired 10 years ago. We're still utilizing it because the hours are low and we can. We had a 2003, a 2006, and I might be off on a couple of those dates, that by NFPA standard, they should have been replaced 5 years ago. But what we did is we said, we looked at them, we're like, the hours are low, it's in great condition, we're gonna send it in to get refurbed versus buying a brand new fire engine. It's things like that that we do that is speaking to exactly what you're talking to, of being able to treat the taxpayer dollar like it's ours, right? And am I gonna go buy a brand new Cadillac, or am I gonna go put my 30-year-old or 20-year-old pickup, 25-year-old pickup, and just get it fixed? And so that's what this organization does. We take that very responsible, very seriously, our fiduciary responsibility. And so at every single opportunity that we can reflect that through our actions, we do it. And outside of that, that's why you and I've had conversations and why you trust us. But we understand how fragile that trust is,
Yeah.
and we're not gonna break it.
That's what, I just wanna make sure we're looking out for the people that we represent.
Yep.
Same thing, yeah.
Yep, couldn't agree more. They're on point. They're lucky that they have you as elected officials to do that. So our communities are very lucky.
Well, I'll say one last thing on this, and then, unless there are other questions, I'll turn it back to the board. I was really thrilled yesterday. I mean, I am constantly like discovering things about this district, and then they just make me smile, like, we do that, you know, that's awesome. And yesterday, we are renovating our training center facility that has just been in terrible shape, and we're using some urban renewal dollars that came in and to do that work. But when we got to the landscaping on the outside of the building, our facilities team looked at it, and they realized, well, we can afford the plants, but what are these landscapers gonna charge us to install these plants, right? So they made the decision at that point, like, no, we're gonna just install the plants ourselves rather than, so they paid the landscaper to just bring out the plants and drop them off, right? So that's the type of district that we are. That's who we are, that's who we'll continue to be for Sandy.
Makes sense. All right, any more questions, or
Thank you for this conversation. This was great.
it's gonna be, I'll be honest here.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
All right.
So first is 2502.
Yep. All right, we have to read the whole thing.
No, I think you just highlight part of, yeah, you just read the request of poll. Or do you have that in your, this, you wanna let them know exactly what you said there?
Yeah.
Someone could motion for the board to approve resolution dash 2502.
And then I would just almost sue,
Yes,
if it's for sake, but request board approval of resolution 2502 Sandy Fire District annexation into Clackamas Fire District.
Yeah.
You just said that right there.
Oh.
That's just as written, that would be the motion that somebody would need to make.
Right, the first three lines.
so which way? I'm looking for the wrong page here again, whatever. Thank you, you've got to turn to the right one. Thank you very much. Okay. Resolution 2502. Resolution of the Sandy Fire District, Oregon. Proposing annexation of the district into Clackamas Fire District Number 1 effective July 1st, 2026. Contingent upon voter approval and affirming a plan whereby district property owners will pay only the district's permanent rate. So, do we have a motion?
I'll, motion to approve resolution 2502.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay. We should have a roll call vote.
Sue,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Andrew,
Abstain.
Mark.
Yes.
Apparently, that has passed.
To the next item in front of you, and I apologize, new guy here, I should have provided you with a suggested motion. For this one, the motion would be to request board approval of Sandy Fire ballot title, question, summary, and explanatory statement, and to direct staff to prepare these materials for measure referral.
Yeah, what he said. Does that work?
So you'll have to say that, so if you
Okay.
read B1 and then just add after explanatory statement to refer that to the voters for the November.
Two sets of things.
Direct staff.
The direction to staff would be very helpful for us.
Okay,
I mean.
thank you. I printed out 2 copies of it and I
You're
put the
perfect.
third one, so I'm getting lost here again.
You're perfect, so you would just
Oh, I know.
read
Okay.
a request.
Okay, that's all I need.
Yeah,
Okay.
part, but then just add and direct staff to refer this to, refer to the public for the November ballot. November ballot.
Okay, requesting board approval of Sandy Fire ballot title, questions, summary, and explanatory statement. And refer this to Clackamas Fire
Staff.
staff,
No, you refer it to the taxpayers
well, to refer it to the taxpayer
and direct, staff.
and direct staff to submit this information for a ballot.
Perfect. Does that suffice? Chris?
Yes.
He wasn't listening, he
This
doesn't.
is, no, I heard it and was reading something else. Yes, I'm good. I'm tracking all of this.
All right,
Keywords there are referral to the taxpayers and.
that sounds good.
I'm happy with that.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve what Sue just said.
But Chief Brown amended, so I read that. We have a second.
I'll second.
Sue,
Yes,
Ron,
Yes.
Andrew,
Abstain.
Mark.
Yes.
okay. Big step.
Appreciate the trust.
You know, we'll beat you up.
Hey, Chris, don't you think I know that? I do.
We know how to do that.
Should have put that in the resolution.
Hope we get somebody from here on your board.
Yes,
Yes,
I really do
I'd like
too.
to see that.
I agree.
I think that's important.
Couldn't agree more.
So there are 3 positions. And do we know if all those people are running for those positions?
Jim's on, he'd be able to answer, but I'm 99% sure that the other 2 are not. So I can't say 100%,
No,
that's,
it's
they've
good
all,
for us to
they've all
know.
said that. Yeah, that this was likely, except for Jim, I'm not, I just haven't circled back with Jim.
Jim's a lifer, isn't he?
The story.
Yep, exactly.
But I'll be able to ask him that question, we'd be able to.
Okay, that would be good to know. All right, Gee, now that we've gotten down to reports, Chief Brown, do you have anything else to talk
I
about?
do, and I'm just gonna make this short and sweet, couple island items that I wanna talk about. You'll see on the fire chief's report there, pictures of Crew 30. Crew 30 deployed to Canada and Alaska, to support, wildfire suppression efforts. I believe last board meeting, we, let you know about Canada. But most recently, they returned from Alaska, as well. They no sooner returned from Alaska on their 2 days R&R, and then they were deployed to Southern Oregon because of the lightning storm that went through there. We have multiple OHED team as well as a task force right now, just over the mountain in near with the fire near Madras. Division Chief Brent Olson was on scene the first night. There was about 1,000-acre fire at that point, and we were sitting this morning at 16,600 acres, and I have not seen the report for this afternoon. My understanding was it was making some pretty significant runs. What?
64.
So 64,000 from this morning. So we went 1,000, 16,000 hours, 64,000. So that's pretty significant runs that they're having on that fire. And again, Clackamas Fire is on the front lines helping. Outside of that, we've had some significant calls within the fire district. Our crews continually answer the call and do an amazing job day in and day out. But that's the end of the report. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any. And notice I didn't take any of Steve's talking points.
I didn't prepare any.
Questions for Chief Brown? How about Chief Dieter? What have you got for us?
Yes. You were gonna interrupt?
Well, no, because I want you to say, make sure you're saying.
Want to think of something?
Yeah, June was fairly busy, 206 calls for service out here. Everything went great, everything's going very well, a lot of community events that the crew and volunteers have attended through June, the open houses were mentioned. Was there, of course, we just finished the July parades and mountain festival that we'll talk about next month, but nothing significant is really happened, it's kind of been status quo, but the calls have picked up, but everything's been going extremely well out here. And on a side note, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to work out here for the last 2.5 years on the contract. This is a momentous evening, and as a citizen, I really appreciate the decision that you just made. And I've really enjoyed being part of this and getting it to this point. So thank you for that, and I am happy to answer any questions.
Sure.
Oh, July 1. Well, he was gonna talk.
He was gonna talk about something.
No, I'll take it. He's like, what is it? We opened Station 12 on July 1st. So that was the second. And that was the last unstaffed station that Clackamas Fire had.
That's right.
So it's now staffed as of July 1 with the 2-person crew out of there, the brush and a water tender for right now.
Where's that? I can't.
It's Logan, it's
Harding Springwater.
yeah, Harding and Springwater around the corner there. So,
Great.
yeah, so we did the ribbon cutting there. We will have a traditional open house closer to September, in just the first weekend of September. But we just kind of did the ribbon cutting on the first and got them.
I'll be flipping hot dogs, so I'll let you guys know when that's coming.
It is September 6th, so you can mark it on your calendars if you.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law live in that district, and they are very happy that that's going to be there. So I'll get them to come over and get a hot dog.
Good. Good,
Yeah.
sweet.
Cool.
You know, one of the things about Station 12 that I like, the anecdote that I picked up is that it's actually high, because of the way that those roads are designed and the speeds, that's actually a really high traffic accident area. And while there aren't, historically, it hasn't been, you know, our highest volume call area. There have been some very serious traffic incidents right in that area. And there are some stories of when volunteers were just right there, and able to jump out immediately, you know, respond. So we may be saving some lives by reopening that station. I'm really excited.
I don't think it's amazing, it's a reality, yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Chief Whitaker, what have you got for us?
Okay, not a whole lot, but per usual, the budget report, is on page 15 and 16 of your packet. End of the fiscal year with just over $3.3 million, in the bank. which is a healthy, ending fund balance for the fire district. Page 16, the next page, you can see has the budget actuals for the year. These are not the completely final numbers. A little work to do with the auditor on accruing some revenue back. But it won't be substantial changes. So you can see in the general fund, revenues came in just about $7,000-8,000 higher than budgeted. That will go up because we are required to accrue some of the property tax revenue that comes over the summer back to the previous fiscal year, so that'll go up a little bit. And then expenses, similarly, we're just under budget amount, so a balanced budget with a small surplus. And of course, the capital replacement fund is pretty healthy. We transferred it $230,000 this year. It just over $28,000 in interest, so that continues to look good too. No real expenses in June, so that's all I have.
Cool, thank you. Any questions? Okay, so I think you're up next, President Starr.
Thank you for the reminder. During the month of June, Chaco's Volunteer Fire Board elected a new board of directors, and I was elected as the board president of the Firefighters Volunteer Association.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you. We also elected three new people as well, Nathan Stewart, Zach Gio, and Lawson Garrett. And Jason Hamilton will remain as treasurer as well, who is a Sandy volunteer past. So, quick year in review, the fire station at 74 was staffed 88% of the time, 322 out of 365 nights. We also had a couple day shifts for people doing 24s as well that were staffed as well. And there was some ODF, 2 days where ODF was there as well. Brush 374 responded to 190 calls for service, and the volunteers represented Clackamas at 37 different public events throughout the year.
You said the brush rig up there responded to 190?
Yes,
Really?
yes. Okay. And so now in the month of June, we staffed 27 out of 30 nights, and the rehab was dispatched 9 times total, and got to support the crews 7 times on scene. Also, the volunteer water tender groups were requested 4 times, responded to 4 requests, and arrived on scene 2 times. During June, there was a community open house at Station 74, which I saw most of you there. They also had, that was about the annexation and for public education about annexation, and also there was an event at Clackamas Community College, which was a touch a truck event, and volunteers drove engine 328 there for people to get a little education experience there. Volunteers and explorers. So during the month of June, volunteers did training with MasterStream and deploying a remote MasterStream, pulling bulk load hose stretches, and preparing the training center for remodel. Also did water rescues with our role as a volunteer. We were using a throwback as well. And during the month, explorers worked mostly on hose skills, and they did from rig to door, pulling rig to door, and taking a hydrant, and then full hose evolution as well. Also, this good exciting news for this is 6 explorers that were in the Explorer program have moved on, and they are now pursuing post-high school education and fire programs. 5 of them in Oregon and 1 in Texas, actually. And there was also a Clackamas Explorer, Liliana Hamilton. She won the Grit and Leadership Award, and it was 1 out of the 2 people at the Portland Metro Fire Camp. And so, again, some good things coming out of the Explorers.
We're having a program like that.
Just so you know. And so for recruitment stats, there was 15 suppressions and 2 support future firefighter conditional offers were sent out. And there's a predicted academy start date in late September to early October for the new fire suppression and support volunteers. Also, 8 Explorer candidates will proceed to the background check, or proceed to the background check in June as well. That's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll happily answer them now.
Liliana Hamilton, she's a Sandy resident, Sandy High School, yeah.
Mhm.
And love her.
Nice, very good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, is there anything else to come before the board? Anything?
No.
Okay. All right, have a moment to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Make one.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, end of a very good meeting.
Thank you. You know, I'm gonna get blamed from him that this might be. No, I think we have longer. We have that longer.
Or believe me, I would have said.
Okay, never mind.